Okay, here we go. I think we're over here.
We can make it tonight.
Oh, the bracha making it tonight. Good. Okay, let's talk about lighting. I was going to say let's talk about lighting Shabbos candles on Yom Tov, but that of course doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Let's talk about lighting Yom Tov candles on Shabbos. No, let's talk about lighting Yom Tov candles. There is a slight difference between the two. The basic procedure is exactly the same. The way that you light Shabbos candles, so you need to light candles for Yom Tov as well. You need to light 2 candles. We'll get to that a little bit later on. However, when it comes to lighting the Yom Tov candles, it's permissible to make the bracha before you light the candles. Right? We spoke about this on Shabbos. The problem is that when women make the bracha,
about a woman now.
Yeah. Right, when women make the bracha, so they bring Shabbos in, which is why they have to light the Shabbos candles first, and then they make the bracha afterwards, which is something which is not normal, right? Normally we do it the other way around. However, on Yom Tov there's no problem whatsoever. Why is that? Because on Yom Tov there's no problem with lighting fire, right? Which means that what you can make the bracha and then you can light the fire from a pre-existing flame in order to be able to light your Shabbos candles with.
You can't ignite on Yom Tov either, right?
Sorry?
You can't ignite a new flame that was not existing.
No, you've got to take it. You've got to take it right, Havari. You've got to take it from something which already exists into, and then you can light your candles from that.
The Kabbalah Shabbos is Hanukkah considered Yom Tov?
No.
So that's you start from the around.
Yeah.
Don't you light at a different time?
But it's funny, the Arshur wasn't as
Say again, what?
Yom Tov candles.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
Already.
You don't have to light Yom Tov candles before Yom Tov comes in. It's one of these rather strange things, because normally on Shabbos we're very careful, right? Because of the problems of Chilul Shabbos, transgressing the Shabbos, we're very careful about lighting the Shabbos candles way before Shabbos comes in, right? Over here in Yerushalayim, 40 minutes, outside of Yerushalayim, 18 minutes, right? But Yom Tov, because there's no problem with lighting candles, you can kindle fire from an existing fire on Yom Tov itself, so there's no particular reason to light candles before Yom Tov comes in. You can if you want. Plenty of people do, right? But are you bringing in Yom Tov? You know what? Presumably you are, actually. I don't see why it should be any different from Shabbos, actually.
Well, it's Yom Tov, it's not Shabbos. Sure, it's different.
Sure, but what brings in Yom Tov or what brings in Shabbos should it should be the same thing.
Well, it's totally different bracha.
Huh?
It's a totally different bracha.
It's a different bracha of what? Ladlik ner shel?
Yom Tov.
No, but it's not. The bracha itself is the same.
Right.
The format of the bracha, ladlik ner shel, right? Again, what's the pshat? It's not the words that you're saying; it's why you're saying them, right? So when you say ladlik ner shel Shabbat, you're bringing in Shabbos. When you say Ladlik Ner Shel Yom Tov, I don't see why you shouldn't be bringing in Yom Tov. I don't see what the difference is.
I guess
take a look.
The principle. Why does that bracha bring in Shabbos in the first place?
Yeah, I think so. But
what's the reason?
Because it's over l'asiyasim, right? Which means that you're making the bracha. The bracha is now that's the action which is turning the weekday into Shabbos. Why that would be any difference with Yom Tov? I don't see why it should be any different. Which means that as you make the bracha, you're now turning the weekday into Yom Tov, right? Now again, there's no problem with using pre-existing light to light your candles. That's why, interestingly enough, some people have a custom to wait, and the wives light the candles when the husbands come back from shul.
Why is that?
On Yom Tov, huh?
Why is that?
Gives it more time.
Why is that?
So it gives him a chance for Hanukkah.
No, it's not. Forget it. We're talking about Yom Tov right now. You're seem to be obsessed with Hanukkah at the moment. I don't know why.
You're saying that it's that after Yom Tov has begun, and the husband comes back.
Yeah, that's it. It's pitch black outside, and then the wife lights the candles, but she's lighting the candles from a pre-existing flame. Now that's the important thing to remember over here. There's no problem whatsoever with using pre-existing fire to create more fire, right? Which means that you can light here. How do you light candles on people that keep 2 days of Yom Tov? Even here in Eretz Yisrael, right? On Rosh Hashanah, we have 2 days of Yom Tov. How do you light the second night's worth of candles? Right? How do you do that? You know, I mean, the candle's burnt out a long time, and it's still Yom Tov, right? So the answer is that you've got a pre-existing flame. You've got lots of people light a yahrzeit candle, which they can take the fire from that, and they'll light the candles for Yom Tov from that.
So you're saying, if the wife or woman, whatever, is lighting the Yom Tov candles before sunset, you have to do the same way like on Shabbos. We have to first light the candles.
No, I don't think so. Because it's permissible for you to light fire on Yom Tov. So even by making the bracha, there's no problem with you lighting the candle.
Hold on, we said after nightfall, you're using existing flame.
For sure, over here.
So there is no problem.
Oh, hold on a second.
If you say the bracha, you bring
hold on.
Yom Tov,
you know what? That's an interesting question. Hold on a second. You say what? If you light a match.
If you say the bracha first.
You made a bracha, right?
I
think so, Yom Tov.
Then you light a match.
And then you light a match. I don't know.
No.
Come on, it's Sunday. You're not supposed to be thinking on a Sunday. That's ridiculous.
Okay.
Let me think about that. Let me think about it. I mean, L'chora, that's right. What you're saying. You know what, Blina? I gotta find out what's the status of the bracha of Ladlik Nesher Yom Tov, right? And let's try and work out what happens when a woman makes Ladlik Nesher Yom Tov before Yom Tov has actually come in, before sunset. It is Yom Tov or it's not Yom Tov? Say that, Blina. I'll have to look into it. It's best to light your Shabbos candles in the place that you're going to be eating the Suda, where you're going to be eating your meal.
Another question.
Yeah.
When you're transferring light, or if you say the bracha and light the candles after sunset, can you use a match and light it on the side where there's like that, what's it called, that sulfur, whatever it's called, like that you use to ignite a match? Can you light it from that end? Is that okay, or are you causing something more than just like transferring fire?
No, I don't see why not. I've never come across anything. I mean, that's the way it's always been done in my house anyway. I don't know about other people, but that's the way my mother-in-law used to light from the using the regular end of the match. Yeah. I don't see why that should be a problem. I don't think so. Okay, who gets to light the candles? Let's have a look and see. So the obligation to light Shabbos candles is really for everybody, men and women. Right, which means that if there are no women around, so the man has to light the Shabbos candles. However, the women have taken upon themselves the mitzvah of lighting the candles, and they exempt everybody else in the house from doing it, which means that, the wife is lighting, and she's lighting for her husband, and she's lighting for children. If you've got married children, they normally light for themselves. There is a difference amongst Ashkenazim and Sfardim. By the Ashkenazim, everybody lights together in one place. That's no problem. By the Sfardim, it's better that each person who's lighting Shabbos candles should light in a different position, in a different place. That there shouldn't be any kind of shouldn't be any kind of mixing up between the light that's being lit. We mentioned this in brief. We mentioned this the other day. I think that that there's a sort of a Kabbalistic concept behind why it is that the women have taken on the inyan of lighting Shabbos candles, and that's to do with the fact that a flame is analogous to the neshama. Right? It's a pasuk in Mishlei. It's a verse in Mishlei which says Ner Hashem Nishmas Odom, that the flame of God is the soul of the person, right? And because Chava, Eve, with her actions brought death into the world, so therefore it's as if they're trying to rekindle the light that light of the neshama is being rekindled back into the world. And that's why women have taken on the mitzvah of lighting the Shabbos candles. However, interestingly enough, there's also men are also obligated in the mitzvah of lighting candles, which is why there is a very accepted custom that the men prepare the Shabbos candles. Now, I don't know what goes on in your homes. I've got no idea, but Your father did it. It doesn't sound like you do it, but there's an inyan of getting the Shabbos candles ready, and also an inyan of lighting them
Before
and then
they
putting
put
them out.
That's-
Right?
that's-
You do that?
No, I don't.
No. Okay. Good. Right.
No.
Why is that?
Huh?
Why is that the lighting and putting it out?
What's the idea of lighting and putting them out? It's that candles, very often when you first light them, they take a little moment until they catch. Right? Once they've been lit once already, they catch straight away. So all it's doing is making it easier for the wife to be able to light her Shabbos candles. If they've been lit already and then put out, then it's okay. It's gonna catch straight away. It's gonna start burning straight away. Interestingly enough, there's an inyan of, I don't know if you're familiar with this. There's a concept of not blowing out candles, not with your mouth anyway.
Any candle.
Any candle, right, including birthday cake candles. Actually, I mean that's more for hygienic reasons. I think that it says, like I said before, the Apostle says, "Ner Hashem nishmas Adam," right? That because the flame is like the neshama, it's like a soul. So there's a concept of not blowing out candles. Right? It's a symbolic thing. Nothing will happen if you do, but there's a symbolic thing of not doing that. Interesting enough, the Chai Adam says that when it comes to preparing Shabbos candles, he says that it's okay to blow them out with your breath, because he says they're being blown out in order to be able to fulfill the mitzvah, which means you're only lighting them in order to put them out so that your wife can now light them easier when she comes to light the Shabbos candles. Therefore, he says that there's no concern over here of blowing out the candles as if you're blowing out the neshama, because really you're doing it in order to enhance the neshama, that she should be able to light the candles easier. But other candles, other flames, maybe it's better, not to put them out by blowing them out. You can use your hands and flap them around a little bit, and hopefully that'll do something.
This
Or you can use Gabriel's tongue, and you can you can put them out like that. Whatever. I mean, it's best to try to avoid blowing them out. I mean, that's the truth is that it's always been a little bit of an inyan with birthday cakes. I'm not kidding. That's I've never really understood this thing about blowing out birthday cakes that are sitting on the cake, but whatever, the candles. So what do you do if there's no lady around in the house? So for whatever the reason, so if that's the case, then the man should make the. What did you say?
No, I used to do that when I was traveling and all that.
Oh no! Here you got somebody who's traveling around all over the place, right? And left his wife back at home. So what do you do when it comes to Friday night? You need to light your own candles. If you've got a daughter who's over the age of bat mitzvah, right, which is over the age of 12, then let her light instead. She can take on the responsibility of lighting. You know what? Okay, Beseder, it's a machlokes. It's a machlokes amongst the various authorities about who is better to light the candles, who the obligation rests upon. Because Lamaisa, according to some opinions, including Rav Moshe Feinstein, the husband, the father, the obligation is now his. If his wife is not home, then the obligation is his to light the candles, and it's not the obligation of his daughter who's over the age of bat mitzvah, even if she's over the age of bat mitzvah. So whatever. I mean, again, whatever you do, it's going to be okay.
So if that responsibility fell on the father, husband, he would do it the same way the wife would do it, not the way he would do it if he was the only person.
No. As soon as a man is lighting the candles, then at that point he can light them in the regular way, which means he can light the candles and then make the bracha.
So he's like bringing in Shabbat.
He can make the bracha and then light the candles,
Right.
as opposed to light the candles and then make the bracha, right? Because he doesn't have that. Again, we spoke about it last week, right? He doesn't have that concern of by making the bracha, he's brought in Shabbos, because he's going to bring in Shabbos when he's davening, right? Inside of Kabbalah Shabbos.
He doesn't use his hands.
I don't know. Let's not get stuck inside of that again. A girl under the age of bat mitzvah for sure can't fulfill the obligation for anybody else, right? So it's true that there are, certain homes there is a custom that the girl girls light Shabbos candles.
That's a
Um,
thing.
Huh?
That's
By
good.
Lubavitch, right? By Chabad, they certainly have that custom. I know other families as well, regular Ashkenazi, non-Hasidic families that have the custom that the girls light one candle. The bottom line is like this: even if it's her custom to light candles, and she's the only one there, and she's under the age of bat mitzvah, she's the only girl there, then she can't be moitzi, she can't fulfill anybody else's obligation, and the father or the husband or somebody over the age of bar mitzvah is going to have to make it instead. Again, there's a classic thing over here. Why do we need two candles? You can fulfill your obligation by just lighting one candle. The whole union of lighting candles is what is to bring shalom bayis into the home, that you should have harmony in the house. That can be done with just one candle. Why do we need to light two? So the classic explanation is that because it says Zacha v'shama b'dibur echad, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he came to describe Shabbos to the Jewish people, he said Zachor. He said Zachor es yom Shabbos l'kadshoy in the second tablets. He says Shamor es yom Shabbos l'kadshoy in the first ones. So we light two candles, right? One candle for Zachor and one candle for Shamor. However, you need to know that if you only have one candle available, don't think that you shouldn't light because you're not going to fulfill the obligation. You will. You'll fulfill your obligation by lighting only one candle. All kinds of double things inside of Shabbos. Interesting enough, there was the double amount of manna that fell on Erev Shabbos. So we have two chalot, right? All of these ideas are connecting together with each other, and they're sort of like building up our understanding and our appreciation of Shabbos. What is interesting is that it seems that two candles is a minimum. There is no maximum candles that a person should light. You may be familiar with, there's a very famous custom of lighting a candle for every child that you have. Right, so amongst the Ashkenazi communities, that's something which is found very often. I think by the Sfadim, Binyamin? No, right? So you just light the two candles. However, some people have a custom. There are all kinds of Kabbalistic ideas over here. There are some people that have a custom to light 10 candles altogether. That's Keneged the Aseres HaDibros, against the 10 Commandments. Some people have the custom to light 7 candles, right? One for every day of the week. Interestingly enough, the Mishnah Berurah points out that if you're going to light 7 candles, you have to be careful not to light them in a candelabra, right, which has got 7 candles, because that's something which is similar to what was used in the Beis Hamikdash, in the temple. It's forbidden to make replicas of what was lit in the Beis Hamikdash in the temple, and it's forbidden to light from that as well. Again, like I said, the minhag seems to be by an awful lot of people that you start off with 2 candles and you move on when you have children in Mitz Hashem, so then you light candles according to how many children you've got.
Can I ask you something then? Does that mean that under any circumstances, the recommended minimum number of candles, Shabbos candles, is 2?
Yeah.
Even regardless of family size,
Absolutely, right? Which means that the minimal way of fulfilling the obligation is to light 2 candles. And there is no maximal way.
My mother used to light 15 candles.
15. Why? Do you know why?
One I think is because one Shabbos she forgot or something like that.
Okay.
And she made a note of that from now on. She'll have.
But that's only one of them.
And also, don't forget, I had 4 sisters I had 5 sisters that died and a brother. But the 4 sisters are from Europe, so I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know if my
I don't know. It's interesting.
But it was 15. I remember.
15 candles, right? For whatever the reason, I don't know.
I don't know. I gotta find them all.
Wait, how many were you all together, siblings?
8.
You were 8.
There were only 2 left. Makes no. I think it has something to do with.
Here, maybe her minhag was to light 7 candles. Mr. Brewer says one for each day of the week, and then one for each child. I don't know. I don't
There
know.
are also 15 like levels, like
Lots of different 15 levels, that's right. 15 levels of getting close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right?
the nearer Mashiach gets, that those 15
But I remember that it was started with 2 when they got married, and then later on kept on
Could
getting,
be.
I don't remember what.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out what the
I know, I gotta find
what the reason was behind it. There are some poskim, some authorities who say that if you're lighting more candles,
Then you have to.
so 2 are the minimum, right? Once you've fulfilled your lighting of 2 candles, if you're lighting more than that, so there are some poskim, some authorities who say that you should make some kind of a differentiation between those and the 2 that you're lighting for Shabbos. Which is Shama v'Zachor. Those are the
Right.
2 that you're lighting for Shabbos. And then the others, maybe, I don't know, in my family, what we've got is that we've got 2 big candlesticks, for the Shama v'Zachor, for the 2 candles of Shabbos. And then we've got candlesticks that are smaller for the children. And that way it's, it's easy to see which ones are which and what's being used for what. But whatever, it's a chumrah. You don't have to do that. Many people have got, candelabras, very beautiful candelabras where everything's on the same level and you can't really tell, which is which. In all events, you should know that however many candles you light, and if you light 15 candles, right, or you light 2 candles, it doesn't matter. When you go to somebody else's home, you don't have to light what you would normally light at home. Right, which means just light the 2 candles, and that's enough when you're a guest in somebody else's home.
Just one last question, because I don't have one, but I'm just wondering, maybe one day I will. You're saying for Shabbos candles, you can't use a 7-place menorah,
Yeah.
and you also can't use that as a source on Yom Tov to light a new.
You shouldn't be using it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, one last thing with regards to this particular issue over here is that if the lady of the house is not able to light candles, right, whatever the reason, she's not home or she's not feeling well, then the husband should light the amount of candles that the wife normally lights. Which means that however many candles you're lighting, you should try not to light less than what you normally what you normally light. Just to tell you an interesting thing, what happens when you forget that there is an inyan within inside of the halacha. There is an inyan. There is a concept that somebody who forgets to light Shabbos candles one Shabbos should light an extra candle every Shabbos afterwards. But here, you hit pshat. It's interesting that it says that if a person forgets to light Shabbos candles, so they should light an extra Shabbos candle every week from then on. However, Rabbi Yashiv said that if it's going to cause the lady a lot of, sometimes these things, it's very difficult to know what's going to cause a person to feel very stressed out. Sometimes people can deal with all kinds of things and it doesn't bother them in the least. But then, like one small little thing is something which tips a balance and it stresses them to the point where it becomes untenable after a while. So he said that if it's going to cause a lot of stress for the lady to have to remember that she's got to light another candle now and it's going to turn into some big thing, he says it's better not to do that. Okay, it's interesting here. There's a ruling from the Chazon Ish. I told you before that one of the things that the husband's supposed to do when he prepares the candles is to light them and then put them out. The Chazon Ish said that the reason was because in the olden days the candles were pretty difficult to work with and they weren't very cooperative, so you had to get them burning first in order to be able to get them burning afterwards. You could put them out and then they would burn properly. He says nowadays, with the candles that we've got nowadays, he says they're all very smart, very technologically advanced candles that we have. And he says it's not a problem and that you don't have to do that. What's interesting is though that I found that I don't know. I found maybe things have changed since then, but I found that it's not strictly true actually. That it normally it can bless you. It can take a little while to get the candles alight first time around. Bless you. And I think that I certainly think it's something that would be it's a good idea to do it. I really do. I think it just helps.
Do it a lot.
What do they do?
The husband prepares the candles
Yeah, well, Rav Moshe, we're all supposed to.
No,
That's the Shulchan Aruch, it says.
no, but prepare the candles and then,
Light them and
it
put them
then
out.
light.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't see too many of that. I don't do it.
Wait a second. You know what I've realized? That when it's good for you, you're Hasidish, and when it's not, you become Litvish. It's interesting.
No, I told my father, why did you send me to a little yeshiva to begin with? You want something, you got a point.
The best way to light Shabbos candles is by using olive oil. Now it's interesting. Olive oil has become a big thing recently. There's all different kinds of olive oil that you can use. They've got olive oil now. The truth is, it's very, very easy to use olive oil nowadays because they have candles made out of congealed. Not congealed. That's not the right word, is it? What's it called when something becomes hard?
Concentrated. Cool down.
Concentrated.
Cooled off.
Cooled down. Cooled off. No, maybe congealed is right. I don't know. They've come up with some kind of a process where they take the olive oil and they can congeal it, and you now have
Compress it.
As a candle.
I don't as a candle. Yeah.
That's it.
Looks like a candle. They're not made long thin ones like that, but they're sort of like small and
Today everybody goes with that, the cups.
yeah. So you put them inside of that. It's very good.
Shabbos candles?
Shabbos candles, yeah, yeah.
Or the same thing you use for Hanukkah.
No, Shabbos candles. They've got
It's a
all
little
kinds
bit
of things
different.
now that you can use made out of olive oil. It's very easy, and
So
it's the
does it look
best
like
thing to
wax?
use.
Wax
It
tea lights?
looks like dark yellow wax, and once you set it alight, it melts.
I've seen the green ones. Is it something different?
No, it's probably the same thing. I guess
I
probably
think
just
it
depends
might.
on what olive oil you use. Once you set it alight, it melts, and then you're left with the liquid olive oil in the thing with the flame on top, and it gives a very clean, very beautiful flame, which is what we're trying to look for on Shabbos. As I mentioned before, right? I think at the beginning of all this I mentioned that another reason for using olive oil is not just because it gives beautiful light, but because somebody who uses olive oil for their Shabbos candles will merit to have children who will light up the world with their Torah knowledge. Way to go, huh? Way to go. I don't know. Do whatever you want. The emphasis like this because you should know that in the olden days wax candles were very, very expensive. Most people actually used their candle, believe it or not, they used lard. They used animal fat.
Pig fat.
No, not dafka pig fat. Any kind of animal, any kind of animal fat was used. I think it's called tallow. No, tallow.
Yeah, I think it is.
You remember those days?
Yeah.
The
No, I don't remember those days.
What happens? Lard is made out of pigs.
yeah, it could be that lard is pig's fat. Tallow is made out of animal fat.
Can you use the lard?
Yeah, there's no problem with using it. I mean, there's a famous story they tell actually about a woman on Friday night when they sat down. Her and her husband sat down to eat their Shabbos meal.
Started dripping?
She had a question about the chicken. She wasn't sure about the kasher. Something wasn't right with the bone or something. There was a bruise, whatever it was. So she sent her husband to go and ask in Vilna. Sent her husband to go and ask the Rav of Vilna to ask whether the chicken was okay or not. So the husband went and he didn't come back straight away. So the wife, in the meantime, went to her neighbor who happened to be the Vilna Gaon, the great Gaon from Vilna, who lived about 250 years ago. She went to her neighbor to ask him, and he said that she shouldn't eat it. In the meantime, her husband had come home from having been to the Rav of Vilna, and the Rav of Vilna said that it was okay to eat. Got a machlokes. So the Rav of Vilna heard what had happened, and he went to the Vilna Gaon, and he begged the Vilna Gaon to come with him to that lady's house, and to eat some of that chicken together with them, that they should see that it was okay, because otherwise the Rav was concerned that his standing, right, his authority would be diminished by the fact that the Vilna Gaon had ruled differently to him. Interesting enough, the Vilna Gaon didn't rule. He wasn't a posek. He wouldn't rule halachically inside of Vilna, because he felt that it wasn't his job to do that. That was the job of the Rav. And the Vilna Gaon was very unhappy about doing it, because he felt that the chicken shouldn't be eaten. And the Vilna Gaon, of course, was very stringent about everything. And he didn't want to do this, but he felt that in order to help the honor of the, in order to prop up the honor of the Rav, he said he was prepared to go. And according to the story, as they walked into the person's house, they were so surprised, this couple was so surprised to see the Rav and the Vilna Gaon arriving in their home on Friday night, that they got up in a hurry. They got up so quickly that they banged the table. The table had lights that were made out of tallow. The candle was made out of tallow, which was non-kosher animal fat, and it dripped into the chicken. And then, according to all opinions, the chicken is now no longer able to be eaten. And they say that that's the way you see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because the Vilna Gaon was prepared to go against his own ruling in order to, to be concerned about the honor of the Rav. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu took care to make sure that he wouldn't have to eat from something he didn't want to eat from. Whatever.
So did they eat their suda after?
Maybe they went round to the Rav's house instead. I don't know. I'm sure they must have waited until they went before they ate it. That's for sure.
The wife went to the building, the husband went to
Maybe. Right.
But if a little bit falls into a pot, it doesn't count.
Oh, if it's bottled b'shishim, you're right. If it's bottled b'shishim, but the truth is like this: once you've seen it happening, it's not something that you're going to want to do. So then, at that point, they understood why the Vilna Gaon wasn't going to eat from that, and the Rav wasn't going to eat from it either. You're right. It could be that al pi halacha, it could be that it was okay for them to eat it, but they certainly weren't going to put themselves into that kind of a situation. That was accepted by everybody. There's an interesting halacha. Interestingly enough, when you come to light the Shabbos candles, if you're lighting more than 2 candles, so that it's best to light the candles that are closest to you first. Why is that? Because there's an inyan of ein ma'avrim ala mitzvahs, that you shouldn't pass over a mitzvah, which means that the candles are here in front of you, you should light those first, and then the ones behind it you should light afterwards. So I once asked my Rebbe if, when you've got a situation like I've got at home, where you've got 2, we normally put the 2 bigger candlesticks at the back, and then the smaller candlesticks with the children, that represent the children, they sit at the front. So I asked them, what am I supposed to do? Right? Because the 2 candlesticks at the back, the bigger ones, they're really the Shabbos candlesticks, and the others are just extras. So he said that if it's obvious that the candlesticks are different to the others, right, that they're bigger, and it's clear that those 2 are the ones that are there for Shamor v'Zachot, for your Shabbos candles, he said then you should light those. He said that as mitzvahs, if they're sticking out from the others, they're taller than the others, he said, then that's okay. That's you're doing it the right way if you do it that way as well. Well, I thought that was interesting, but apparently no one else did. Just as a practical dimension, of course, I'm surprised nobody asked it over here, but it could be because we've sort of reached the end and nobody's really listening anymore. Is that if it's dangerous, it could be dangerous to light the candles at the front and then light the candles at the back. If that's the case, then for sure you should light the candles at the back first. That goes without saying. And as I've mentioned in the past, I've noticed that things that go without saying really need to be said quite often.
Yeah. It's also be expensive.
Huh?
It's also be expensive, not just dangerous.
Expensive what?
Your wife's shaitel could go up and...
Oh, that's good, isn't it? It's avodah zarah. Okay. Okay, I think we're going to stop over here, Mitzvah Hashem.
Didn't know you were with that can.
Can you light the candles, Shabbos candles, where you know you're not going to have enough room? You have gaslets. So you light it to a table or a small table right next to you.
Yeah, sure. In fact, it's preferable. Right, it's preferable to light the candles in a place, even if it's not sitting. Lots of people have the custom to put the Shabbos candles on the Shabbos table. Right. But if you know that that's going to be a problem, you've got lots of guests, and you know, it's either Shabbos candles or food. So of course that's not a question, right? So yeah, it's okay to put them off on the side somewhere, where you should be able to see them. Right? If you can see them, then that's good.
So I just want to make sure. I think I get this about menorahs again. I just want to. So any time other than Shabbos or Yom Tov, you can freely use menorahs.
Not a 7-branch menorah.
Really, in other words, if I went to, what is it, Hazorfim or something? They don't sell.
No,
No, they
no.
won't.
You're not allowed to make them. If you were to go to a private silversmith and have yourself made a 7-branched menorah, which he's not supposed to do, you're not supposed to do that, and he's not supposed to do, but he did it anyway, right? You're not supposed to light it. It doesn't matter whether it's Shabbos, whether it's Yom Tov. A 7-branch, like they had in the temple.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to make a 7-branched menorah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So menorahs that we have for Hanukkah are not a problem because they're 8 or 8 plus 1, right? But if you've got a 7-branch menorah, it's a problem.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you.
Good. Okay. So
Never knew that.
I didn't either.
yeah, don't say I never taught you anything.